Hello,
Hello.
welcome. Mark is on a beach somewhere, so we should say
I am.
g'day.
G'day.
Yeah,
So,
he's our correspondent on the ground out on Bondi Beach.
Yeah, I wish.
we've got budgie smugglers on by there as well.
But you
I'm not going to
smugglers
stand
in a
up to show
shirt.
you that.
Business at the top, party at the bottom.
Yeah.
Um, we digress. Hello, Rod. You have finally found your dream rugby shirt. You're wearing
I
it this evening.
yeah.
He's got the Ospreys Batman shirt on.
Yes, also known as the Bat jersey. Yeah, I've been looking out for one for so bloody long, and I finally found one. And 27 quid, free advert here for Vinted, 27 quid on Vinted. You see them going for 100 plus on eBay. I guess that's what you get when you find a bit of a niche app or an app that's just used by like a couple of
Mm.
generations. If it was on eBay, I'm sure everybody would be posting it on some of the online Facebook groups and everybody would be competing on it and bidding themselves up. So 27 quid, I am absolutely landed.
Landed.
I've had an interview today, so now I can just chill out. And then this came in the post. Happy days.
It was the
There's
picture
definitely
that you
kosher.
sent
It
us.
isn't sort of spelled. They haven't sort of spelled Ospreys wrong on it or anything. Other than it's like a knockoff.
I bloody well hope not. It's got proper embossed and like rubberized logos and stuff, so it doesn't feel cheap. But yeah, also wearing it in honor of our, Osprey superhero tonight, Jac
Jack.
Morgan. We'll get on to him, I'm sure. But no, I'm over the moon with it, and I know a couple of people from the Osprey Supporters podcast as well are pretty.
Treasuries.
So, pack it up, boys.
Sorry, lads, you snooze, you lose.
Yeah.
Um, I am wearing my Lions warm-up shirt, which people are like, have you been painting in it? No, I've not. That's the style, and I like it. I am sharking Vinted because some people are still selling their Lion stash on there already. So I'm keeping my eye out for a traditional red shirt. But I quite like this. I like the green and the navy and the red. I like to be a bit different. And Mark looks like he's been to court.
Well,
What a
this
funeral.
is my new work clothes because it's new job week for me this week. I'm no longer a head teacher. I now work for a children's charity. So yeah, new start, new look, new background, new everything this week.
It's
So
amazing. Do you
Yeah,
know
you
what
do
though,
look
right?
like a new man, Mark. You got a twinkle in your eye now.
how like oh look out then.
Maybe it's the
I'm
sun there burning your skin
Yeah,
on
it must be.
I'm really disappointed though I didn't have Mark standing by his front door, for his first day
First
at
day.
work.
Yeah.
Might do that when I start my new job on the 14th, have a picture of me outside the house with my new work bag and be like, please be my friend. Um, but we'll save the Lions and we'll talk other things. So we had the Euro yesterday, and watching that live, we were drawn out first. One's the charm. Thought it was really interesting to see an Irish fella talking French with an Irish accent. But in our group, then we have drawn Zebra, Montpellier, again, third time in a row, US Montalban, Black Lion, and Connacht. What are we thinking about that? Now, I would have loved Newcastle.
Mm.
That would be a trip.
I think
Yeah.
from a rugby perspective, it's a decent group.
Hmm.
From a supporter perspective, it's a bit meh, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm always keen for English fixtures because just for the fan side of things, creates a good atmosphere. Um, yeah, Montpellier twinned with Swansea, as I said online. Why do we keep getting drawn them? Have we got some sort of blood pact between the two of us that we're destined to face each other, until eternity? Um, but it's nice to see Black Lion in there. That's a team that I'm excited to
Mm.
yeah,
face, and I'd love that to be at home. I think it'd be a great experience to just, yeah, have the Georgians come over here, see some of their stars because they're becoming more and more familiar names, aren't they? And they're certainly
Yeah.
they've certainly their spot in the competition. So yeah, wouldn't want to lose to them at home. Wouldn't want a repeat of Scarlett's outing with them a couple of seasons ago, but I'd love the opportunity to see them. So I'm relatively excited about it. Just yeah, a bit annoyed about Montpellier again.
Tell you what we
And
should do with that Montpellier fixture. We should play every year for the Twin Town Trophy. We
what
can
Yeah,
link it in with a movie as well. So it'd be, be a hot dog or something on the trophy or something like
the
that.
FA Cup.
yeah, hot dogs laced with mushrooms and
Yeah.
yeah, glue on standby for people who like have a sniff. Yeah.
That is the best ever.
You'll scare the French out of town.
The guy, see
Yeah.
this glue? This glue is for me making my models. It's not for you shoving up your nose. If you're gonna sniff glue, buy your own bastard glue. That and cup of tea, boys. It creases me. Twin Town is one of John's favourite films.
Oh, it's the
And
best.
when he moved down, we had to do the Twin Town tour.
Oh, yeah.
But we are officially like twinning with them now.
Mhm.
Like, can
We could do
we?
the trophy, couldn't we? It could be the Twin Town Trophy sponsored by Black Feather Podcast.
Yeah, I could
I could
get
have one
something
knocked up for
big.
about a tenner, I'm sure, in the local trophy shop around here.
Get
Or
it down the market.
we could market it as whoever wins gets Adam Beard.
Custody
Regardless
of.
of contract, he is the trophy. And he'll
Yeah,
be stood there pitch side, and whoever wins, yeah, gets to drag him home.
imagine like
They can still pay his contract.
yeah, you'd like to think that he's going to come and he'll have a warm reception, but like you're going to give grief at the same time as well, and because that is the nature of banter. So, overall, not a bad little little group. Usually we see fixtures and timings and everything about 2 to 3 weeks after the draw is made. So with regards to that, then I would say once we know, we'll be able to organise stuff and get it sorted. It'd be nice to see what's happening and when. So yeah, anybody see Scarlett's group that they drew?
Nice, isn't it?
I did, but I've forgotten it. Who they got? Oh, they got Bordeaux. I certainly remember that. That's about all I remember, but that's enough.
Got the winners
Yeah.
and the runners up.
Yeah. Oh, yes, yeah, they've got both, haven't they? Oh, I can't wait to see them get battered.
Oh, I do, but then they are our brothers in arms at, you know, fighting the man and the power, which is the Welsh Rugby Union.
Yeah, but we still hate them, don't we? So,
If we went up, they'd want us to get battered. So, yeah.
yeah.
And come back down where we can all squabble together in the
Yeah.
cesspit of Welsh rugby. Who do they think they are going up to their haughty heights? Get back down
Yeah.
here where you want. That's what I'd say.
Sure.
Ideas above you station in it.
Exactly.
So that's kind of it for Ospreys news. I made a suggestion about bricks in the St Helens to Lance. He's not come back to me as yet, but he has been at Lions with Howdens this morning, like a Lions party gathering type thing, where they presented him with a really nice plaque listing all the lions that Ospreys have produced with regards to over the years. He said that that's going to stay in his office for the time being, and then once St Helens is up and running, it'll be put somewhere in a prominent position. Other news, lads are out in Japan. We finally know it's going to be on, the first test is going to be on S4C at an ungodly hour, thanks to
6 o'clock,
Eddie Jones not wanting to move the fixture. However,
What is that hour? Sorry. Are you saying
6
that because you
o'clock,
don't
isn't
know
it?
what it is?
it's like 6 o'clock in the morning.
6 o'clock kickoff in it, I think, yeah.
Okay, it's all right. I'll get up for it.
It's 2:30 a.m. their time, but there is talk of moving it for safety's sake because of the heat out there at the moment. Because I don't know if you've seen some of the pictures of them training. it is hot and like dangerously so hot. Um, so there's talk of them changing it or changing the time above and beyond Eddie Jones's head just for player safety. Been in conversation with Dan Edwards today because I don't know if you guys have seen on Insta. They're going to some really lovely coffee places, and the coffee format is insane, absolutely insane. It's like swans and wings and feathers and like all sorts going on. And I messaged Dan and I was like, that is next level for like art. That's just there. And I was like, mine is a bit like trees. And he came back and said he can't do it either. So, Dan, we'll have to go on a lesson together. Like, not in a weird stalky way because I'm old enough to be your mum. But I'd love to know how to get like the form. Apparently, it's all to do with the angle of the jug and stuff.
I was a
But
barista for 5 years. I could show you some.
can you? Because no, when I say they look like trees, they don't really look like trees. They look like penises.
Do they?
You can draw anything because
It's
with
fine.
my Nescafe, I can't do that at all.
Well, try to draw a heart, but it looks like two balls.
It's those fine motor skills.
I haven't got
Yeah,
them.
it's
So
pretty key.
I haven't got
Yeah.
them.
You're not going to do it with one of those little whizzy things as well. You need a proper steamer. But
I got a proper steamer. Got a
you
proper
have you?
machine. Yeah,
Yeah. Nice,
got a
nice.
barista machine. I have in my house. I'm posh.
Well, when we come over for your barbecue in the summer, we can do a little lesson. That being said, it's been 10 years since I've done it, but I got the theory still there. Whether the muscle memory is there is another
Like it's
question.
like riding a bike. Once you've done it, you can, do it.
Might get a little bit burnt along the way, but nothing I've not dealt with before.
Happy days. I'll have the Savlon on standby. So they do look like they're having quite a nice little
Yeah.
time out in Japan.
Oh, the heat.
Training looks brutal, like
Yeah.
absolutely brutal. Not only is it warm, but they're going through their paces. Like they look like they're sweating buckets. I'd be
I
really
don't know
interested to know how much weight they're going to lose.
Well, I can't remember what podcast it was that I was listening today, but somebody was talking. I think it was Joe Roberts, wasn't it? Maybe on the Scrum 5 podcast, talking about how he's losing 2 kilos per session just in water weight.
wow.
But they're drinking so much beforehand and sweating so much of it out. And then I think it was on the Wales Online, the Welsh Rugby podcast. They were saying that one of the days, yesterday or the day before, they went through 500 kilos of ice over the course of their
That's
training session
insane.
just to cool people down. That's half
That's
a
nuts.
ton of bloody ice.
Wow,
Mental.
that's nuts.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go to Japan, lads, because
I couldn't hack
right,
it.
Yeah.
If it's like that, I could not hack it. I wouldn't want to
No, no,
leave my
mate.
room.
You'd be staying in the aircon all the time, wouldn't you?
like
Exactly.
that. Leave. Do you know what? The first time we went to Florida, we landed and it was like 35, 36 degrees. And I was knackered. I hate flying. Flying stresses me. Um, and we got straight to the villa. Everybody's boiling. I'm like, I got to have a nap. So I lay on the settee. Everyone else is like stripping off clothes. I'm like, get me a blanket. I'm on the settee with a blanket having a nap. I'm always freezing, absolutely always freezing. But then apparently a blanket is an ADHD comfort thing as well, which I didn't know until now because I've always been obsessed with blankies. But looking at some of the pictures, they got like the water sprays for their face with the fans. They look amazing. But it's just apparently it's the most brutal training that they've ever been on.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a massive fortnight, isn't it? To be fair for Wales, I mean, we've got to break this losing run out there. Hopefully, with a two-test series win, ideally. Worst case scenario, we split the series with them, but we have to break this losing streak, don't we?
Yeah.
That's number one priority. Don't really care how we play. I don't care whether
Yeah.
there's much flair in it or anything else. It's all about winning, isn't it?
And its
Strings can
implications for
go.
the World Cup draw as well, isn't it?
Oh
You
God,
know,
yeah.
Oh,
Strangely though,
massive, yeah.
with all that weight on it, it feels relatively sort of understated at the moment. And I don't know whether that's
Does
been driven from inside the camp, inside the WRU. It all feels very quiet. In reality, we should be desperate, shouldn't we? There's so much
yeah.
leaning on this. It sort
I
of
suppose the
feels
focus is on the Lions, isn't it?
yeah, I guess
Yeah,
so. That they sort of fall into second, third page rather than front page on all the Welsh tabloids. So they're
Yeah,
able to sort of go about their business quietly, and that may well help them in the end.
yeah,
Ease the
I think they
pressure.
prefer that.
Yeah, yeah.
definitely.
I
I
think
mean,
they
you
would
would
prefer that.
expect to see, well, Terry will obviously play on Saturday. You'd expect Gatton to play as well.
hmm
Any of the other Ospreys we're expecting to start, Hardy or Ruben, possibly?
Guess it depends on training. You could make a really good case for either, couldn't you? I certainly wouldn't call you out if you had one opinion or the other, because they're both very good, in good form at the moment, have been all season.
Yeah,
I'd imagine they go for Hardy on first choice, just based on
that's what I'm
his
thinking, yeah.
familiarity. He's been there, done
Experience.
the job. Give Ruben one off the bench, and then maybe in the next test he earns a starting spot. But I'd suspect Hardy. What are our other options? Who else could we see? Dan Eds? No, I
What is
suspect
Dan?
he'd
I
favour
suspect.
Thomas.
They're going to play Costello, aren't they?
Hmm,
Sorry, Costello as well. Yeah, of course, of course. Well, yeah,
Yeah, they would play
it would be
Costello.
Costello, and then Matt Sherratt, I'd imagine, would be looking at Ben Thomas after that. So, yeah, yeah,
I'm hoping Thomas is going as a 12 specifically, and they're going to, bin this experiment of playing him at 10 when needed.
to an end.
The only downside for Dan is that if they've got Costello on the pitch and they've got Thomas on the pitch, then they don't necessarily need another 10 on the bench because Thomas can cover that and potentially they can put more options on the bench in terms of outside backs or whatever. So it could be that they just go with one out and out 10, Thomas to
yeah.
cover,
This
and
is
then
very
I'd
the other
like to
10
think,
just sit.
they give him a start, because I think we need to bring him through.
yeah.
He's shown he's got the kahunas for big games, and I think we don't need to be stupid. We've Yes, we want to win, but I also think as well we've got to have a succession plan, and I
Mhm.
think he's a very strong part of that succession plan. And if he doesn't play, he's not getting the experience.
No. Mirati possibly bench option. I would imagine they'd go Freddie and Teddy, second rows maybe,
Mm.
but
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised to see Mirati on the bench.
Yeah, yeah. I do like Ratty as a bench option. I'd love to see him start, but he does offer that diversity in play, doesn't he? Off the
Yeah,
bench, so he is quite a useful tool to have there. But it'd be great to see him in a Welsh jersey, regardless of in what format. But I do think he's especially good at six. He's a suited six, I think.
yeah. And if he can play lock or six, potentially gives him a good chance to be on that bench because of his versatility.
Yeah, yeah. I'd definitely be in favor of having two lengthy locks, two
Yeah.
taller boys just for jumping options in the line out.
Mm.
Particularly against the Japan team, who in the past have struggled with set piece, and we know they're not the biggest individuals in the world. I know they've got a lot of import players and sort of project players to make up
Yeah.
the difference there. But I think that's a part of the game that we can gain some real parity and some real go forward is if we dominate scrums and lineouts. Yeah, so I would be in favour of going for an out and out lock in 4 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not being racist when I say this. I'm trying to think of an alternative word. But the Japs are quite nippy when they put their foot down. They've got that Shane
Mm.
Williams kind of speed and
Yeah.
flair about them. Um, with regards to that, um, team being announced tomorrow, I believe. Not sure on
Okay.
timings. So we'll post that as soon as we see it. I didn't watch it myself, but I understand the under 20s game on Friday against Argentina was a really, really good, close game with the under-20s leading for a large part of that and just getting pipped at the end.
Yeah, yeah, I watched it. It was a really good game, really exciting game of rugby and really sort of pleasing one if you're just looking at Wales's development over the last 12 months or so, really. Obviously, we had that disappointing performance in last Six Nations, bit better in this one, the win over England. So it felt like everything was not in our favour going into this game, but it felt like we were certainly in a position to do something and really set our pool up going forward. And it was a really good contest, a really enjoyable watch. I'd encourage anyone who missed it to go back and watch it if they're invested. And for the last 20 minutes or so, it was tied something like 27 all. Like I could be way out with my scores there, but it was tied for a long period, that final quarter essentially. And then Argentina, who were beasts, they were all massive. A couple of their back row and their second rows were just hulks of teenagers. And they just battered over in the corner in the last few minutes of the game there and stole the win. Which so it was disappointing, more disappointing because I had a little bit of money on it. Um, and for so long, it looked like they were going to get the last minute try. But no, it wasn't to be, but very enjoyable affair. And I'm encouraged looking forward. It would just been great to see Morgan Morse in that team since he's not going on the Japan tour. It feels like such a waste. I know there's the development of the other boys to consider. Evan Minto had a great game at number 8, and he wouldn't have had that opportunity had Morse been there, probably, or certainly wouldn't have had a full 80 minutes as I think he did. But for Morse now to be sat at home watching the under 20s on his TV, going down the club with the boys for a few pints, watching Wales out in Japan, it just seems really, really wrong. And I think the best
What's
place
the
for him would have been under 20s, maybe just to give him something to do and give him some development, even if he was dominating everyone around him.
Yeah, I mean the 20s is an actual tournament, isn't it? So you want your best players playing tournament rugby. So why
We've only
not
got one for a
play
couple of years.
potentially the best player on the pitch of that age group, and just leave him sitting at home? As you say, if he was going with the senior squad, fair enough. But to just take him nowhere just seems a complete waste.
And this all screams to me another just lack of communication and coordination between the different pathways and the lower end and the upper end of the development pathways.
Really not.
Who was making that decision? Somebody made a decision based on anticipating them going on the other thing, and then that didn't turn out, and then he's left.
Yeah,
And they just left it
and he's
all
in
run.
limbo.
Yeah,
Typical WRU, though, it right hand, left hand, let's meet in the middle.
yeah. But
It's
still,
as simple as that.
great game, and I'm excited for their next fixture with which I think I may be misspeaking, but is it midweek? No, they're not playing
Um,
midweek, are they?
No,
no,
no.
no, I don't think so.
No, I'm just getting
No,
them mixed up with the Lions.
don't
Anyway,
think so.
we've probably got
Well,
a
the good
nicer
news.
pool ahead now. We've got games against Spain and who else? Can't think. But I think we've got Spain next, so that should be, I don't want to say the word guaranteed, but that we should be really gunning for a good winner.
I'm just
Yeah,
having a
I mean the
look.
good thing in terms of Morse is that he will be raring to go come the start of our season, won't he? He'd be
Yeah.
sat there the whole summer watching teammates playing for the 20s, playing for the Welsh team, playing for the
Yeah.
Lions, and he's going to be absolutely chomping at the bit as he comes September.
He is. And yeah, with the selfish hat on, I guess that's a plus. But if we're talking about progressing these players through to the pinnacle of the
Yeah,
sport, why are we holding them back? Yeah.
It is ridiculous. But before we get on to the Lions, then has anybody seen the Lewis Rees Summit Stick to Rugby pod from last
no.
week?
Oh, I watched about half of it. That
Really,
reminds.
really, really, really interesting. Talking about um, Cardiff. Um, Hartbury wanted to sign him. Cardiff said, no, don't go, you'll never play for Wales. And he decided to go for Hartbury.
Well,
Can I just say, and I'm sorry to just like
It's
disregard your point.
reverberating.
that timing of your comments was quite unusual the way it was. My word back to you. Mark, is that your laptop? I don't know. Should we just
Doing
crack on?
what, sorry?
I can't hear it now. Okay, carry
Shall I
on.
try?
Yep, I'll edit that out if I need
Edit
to.
that out. So yeah, absolute craziness. It was like if you go to Hartpury, you play for Hartpury, then you're no longer in the Cardiff pathway. You'll never play for Wales. What kid is going to turn down going to Hartpury?
Mm.
You get in your education, you get in your stall put in the window. Within 2 years, Gloucester offered him a contract. So we lost, or Cardiff potentially lost him to playing hardball. Eddie Jones then called him apparently when he was 18 to see whether he had any English links. He was like, no, my dad's Maltese. But as Laura Lalio said, if he'd have waited another year, he'd have been living and playing in England for 3 years.
Yeah.
So he would have been eligible anyway. Just so
And it's not
happened
just
then
the kids at that point.
it.
It's not just the players at that point when they're making that decision at 15, 16, 17. It's the parents as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for the parents to get that kind of messaging, they're gonna, with their ultimate sort of power of decision or power of influence over their kids and their futures, they're gonna hear that kind of messaging and just be like, oh well, screw you then. I'm gonna make a decision based on what's best for my kids or how much money they can make in their future,
Yeah.
and make it just on that, not based on passion and heart.
Yeah.
Luckily, in that instance, I guess Amit had the courage, had the foresight to say, no, that's not something I want. I'm taking this decision, but I do always want to play for Wales. But that's not going to be everyone, and we've seen it in the past, haven't we?
It's happened.
Faye Boboso, and others. Yeah. So
Yeah.
we want to look at that, please.
Yeah.
WRU.
And I
Bit
thought
of-
it was really good that he said, I'm giving NFL 2 years. I'm 21, 22. I'm going in at the same age as players. I appreciate that. But if I need to do it, I need to do it now, not when I'm 24, 25. I'll be too old.
Yeah. He
Lot of
said 2
fans.
years, did he? Because it must
He
be
said 2
approaching.
years. Well, he's got a professional contract with the Jags now. And he said that he'll give it like 2 years to try, and I think that's what they
2
get on
years
the player
from now is
pathway.
what he's saying, is it?
Yeah. And he's
Okay.
like, if it doesn't happen then you'll be able to come back to rugby. Other people have done it, Christian Wade and whatever.
Yeah.
So that'd be interesting.
He's still likely to be practice squad for the time being, isn't he? I would have thought for the Jags rather than part of the actual roster.
Yeah. They've got
Thing is, when he comes back, we need to be in a financially better position because he's going to come back a superstar, able to demand a top budget from the off.
Yeah.
And if we're not able to compete with him, he's going to go back to England or France, and we won't see
France,
him
won't
in.
it?
So, yeah.
and that's the
Need
problem. Because
to
he's
join
gonna
the
draw
crowd.
the crowds as well. He's gonna draw the crowds. He's young, he's good looking, he's
He
gonna
loves it. He loves the attention, and you can't slight him for it. He's
No,
the next generation of Gavin Ensign, if you want to call him that, isn't he?
don't blame him.
Like he's in it because he loves rugby, but he also wants to be a celebrity, doesn't he? We cherish that when we look outside the sport or even within the sport, within the women's game, Alona Maher, whoever, we want these characters, don't we? So I'd love him to come back. I'd especially love him to come back and play his rugby in Wales. As unlikely as that maybe is at this point in time. And when he does, it will be a great thing for the sport because he's got the ability to inspire a generation really with his rugby and the off-field stuff.
You never know. He might come back to play for the Leinster of Wales as the WRU are planning to create. So he'll be at the Palms Park playing for the WRU's baby.
Yeah.
They'll throw money at him at the cost to everybody else more likely.
Don't get me started, but
Sorry, cynical side coming out to me now.
let's move on to nice things. So the Lions.
Day of recording. They played
Day of
earlier on
recording.
today.
We delayed it by a
11
day.
a.m. kickoff. It is
Yeah.
now 8 p.m. almost, so we've had a day to think on it, chew it over, deliberate. There's one real takeaway, isn't there?
Would have
We have
deleted not having watched it yet. Apologies. So I'm not going to pretend that I've seen it and try and bullshit my way around it. I'm just going to leave it to you guys to discuss.
I literally was working. I was actually working, um, and keeping an eye. And I, after Saturday's game, then obviously improvements needed to be made because the restart wasn't clicking. There was a lot of ball handling errors, a little bit, well, a lot of ball handling errors today. However, it is starting to click. Nearly 10 minutes for me with that first try for the Reds. They looked like they were in it. They knew they were there to play a game. But then all of a sudden it started to click for the Lions and they started bumping in the tries. My brother rang me and he was like, "Don't tell me the score, don't want to know what happened, but just did Jack make a good account of himself?" My response was, he was epic. He was absolutely everywhere. My brother, being my brother, was like, "Is that because you were Welsh that you think he's epic, or is it because he was epic?" And it was like, "Guy, his stats are amazing. He was epic.
Yeah.
He was
Well,
absolutely everywhere."
that's what I had to do. I had to do the Twitter test where you go, I think that was really good, but what are other people saying? So you go on Twitter, you type in Jac Morgan, you go on Late Dust, and you see some people commenting, and you click on their account and you go, oh, he's
They're not
Scottish.
actually Welsh.
Oh, he's English. Yeah, yeah. And you go through, oh, he did have a really good game. And I mean, man of the match, sums it up really, isn't it? Amongst a performance, a team performance that was pretty epic, as well as individual performances from Atoje, and I'm trying to think now, and others. But Atoje especially stood out, who had great performances. The fact that he got that man of the match and people are saying, yes, deserved. I haven't seen one person saying he didn't
No,
deserve that. Is fantastic. And on a week where we found out that Thomas Williams has gone home, leaving Jac Morgan as the only Welsh person in the squad, I think it's a great thing because we are the only team, Wales now, are the only team to have a player in every starting squad for the last century. Scotland since the 70s, England since the 80s, blah, blah, blah. We've had one consistently in every starting team for the longest time by a long shot. So Jack can, sneak through the door there. And it looks like he's certainly making a good case for his involvement. If he can sneak through the door and get in that starting squad, that will be incredible stuff.
I literally tweet
Super.
this morning and said that I was watching and I was like, "Oh my God, he's doing really well." And I tweet to say that I thought he was putting in a top-notch performance and he was being really impressive in his also quiet Jac Morgan way. Loads of likes for that. And then when you've got that number of likes, that it's not just you with your cockeyed optimism there. He's actually having a stormer. Stats wise, then
Before you get into that, Sam, just on the stats, that's the difference because I know you got the stats lined up. Last game that he played in, who was it? That was the Argentina game, wasn't it? Against Argentina, he was a little bit visibly, quiet. But you looked at the stats and you can see he was doing a job. Today, you saw him doing the work as
yeah,
well, hitting tackles, hitting rucks, making turnovers. He was doing the dirty work that he usually does, but doing it in a really flashy way, wasn't he? That was really obvious and looked great. So
he shoved
yeah,
his
yeah.
hand up today. He
Give us
shoved
the
his hand up.
stats
If he does not get a test place, I'll eat my hat. Like I
for one of them.
literally will eat my
Yeah.
hat. Like so scores on the doors today, 21 tackles, 3 turnovers, 9 carries, 49 metres made, 1 try and 1 man of the match award.
Yeah.
Andy
And
Farrell
pushing Ellis.
afterwards.
Who did he push over for their try? He certainly made,
Porter.
deserves an assist for one of
Porter.
those. Porter's try because he launched him over there.
He
Yeah.
literally was like, "You're going over me. It's happening. It's on." Um, Andy Farrell at the end in the post match said, "The way he played tonight, Jac Morgan can play where he wants."
Did he
Easy.
say that?
He did.
Oh, I didn't see
Direct
that.
quote.
That's class. That's class
Direct
because
quote.
Andy Farrell doesn't call players out, good or bad. So that's good to hear.
He's very stoic and northern, is
Yeah.
Andy Farrell.
Yeah.
I
How did
loved
the pack
Ellis
go
Genge.
today? Sorry, go on.
Loved Ellis Genge giving him his little clutch when he scored his try, and the utter joy on Jack's face with his smile, with his gum shield. I was just like, oh my God, they are just
Yeah.
got me in the feels. Nearly shed a tear.
That's how did the pack go today? Because on paper that looked pretty close to what the test pack might be, and they should be, they should have been completely dominant today, really.
In the way that the line out was being a bit of a concern, the scrum was a bit of a concern for me today, and I don't know whether that's a consensus or not. I was prepping for an interview this afternoon, so I shouldn't have been watching it, but I sort of was out of the corner of one of my eyes. Um, Yeah, definitely witnessed the Reds get some dominance at scrum time, win a few scrums, particularly ones in key positions when they were back on their own try line and everything was in Lions' favour, and then the Lions would fluff it, or the Queensland Red would, shove them over in the pack. So yeah, on that front, on a set piece front. So. I think the lineouts were a bit better than they've previously been. Atoji was a big contributor to that. He was phenomenal at the lineout, actually, and I think he pinched a few. But then around the park, no, the forwards were great. Bench and starting players as well. But yeah, I mean, just to touch on Jack again, I think he's shown amongst the back row. Curry maybe looked a little bit underwhelming with a few vulnerabilities, which I wouldn't usually say because I really like Curry, but I think he was a little bit exposed at times defensively, just making unwise decisions, choosing the wrong option, little things like that. So, yeah, back rows were good. Like I said, Atoja was great. Chessum was phenomenal. Cutting a couple of really nice lines on occasion, galloping down like a big giraffe, as we all love. Front rows, I'm struggling to even think who started in the front row now. Um,
Reporter
Porter,
starts.
I'm reading your lips here because you got your mic off and I saw
Yeah,
Oh,
Porter.
Porter, Kelleher, and Stewart. Sorry, babes.
That was it. Stewart
yeah,
looked good. And I
good.
think he's definitely pushing for a spot there. Kelleher, yeah, he's not going to start, is he? We know that. He's playing second fiddle to Sheehan and he's just essentially keeping the seat warm for him. But he didn't do anything wrong. And then who on the other side? Porter. I don't know, got his try. 50% Jack. Everything good he did was Jack. No, it was a good forward performance. It was just the scrum wasn't as powerful as we maybe hoped. I don't know what Queensland Reds are like typically, but they are one of the stronger teams in rugby, aren't they? So
They,
presumably they've got a decent pack.
they came fifth this year, and they
Mhm.
can put a good show out of themselves. Didn't make the playoffs this year, um, but they're one of the weaker teams that we're going to face. Obviously, a big step up on Saturday, um, with regards to that game. But I'm not a fan of player ratings, but a lot of the player ratings agree that Jack did like an 8 or a 9 out of 10 performance. Again, people are
Yeah,
not,
7, 8, 9. The only person I've seen outscore him is Atoje consistently.
yeah.
Yeah.
They seem to have quite a nice relationship between them as well.
Hmm.
Torgy and Jack, they always seem to stand together.
They're in a
Pretty
similar vein, aren't they? Lead by example, a bit
quiet.
quieter. Yeah, yeah.
I have laughed this week because again, Lions TikTok and socials are giving me life with Ellis Genge and Beelam. So funny.
Hasn't
They're
seen much
they're
of
rooming
them.
together.
I've heard
hilarious.
Ellis speaking on a podcast about it, but I haven't seen any of the videos. But he's saying Finley's my guy. He's my type of guy.
Yeah.
He's Beelum's talking to the camera and he's like, "Oh, we've had some difficult conversations this week," and Genge is in the corner going, "Yeah, but who with? You haven't." He's like, "Stop playing up for the camera." And then Beelum's like, "Oh, we're going to do a podcast together. We're going to call it Ellis Beelum." He's like, "We're not doing a podcast." And then he's like, "Oh, we have a cup of tea every night. Do you want chamomile?" And Ellis Genge's like, "No, I want English breakfast." They just like literally comedy gold the way that they bounce off each other. Um,
Yeah.
Finn seems to have created some kind of gangster handshake with Henry Pollack.
Russell or Smith.
Yeah, Finn Russell, sorry.
Okay.
Seems to have created some kind of gangster handshake with Henry Pollack. Bill keeps going missing all the time, so he wants to put an air tag in it. It's like their socials have just made me laugh. They look like they're really gelling off off the field as well. And when it did click in the second half today, it clicked. The tries came. You could see it was slicker. It was getting better. Things are starting to click now. I think what we all seem to forget is they've only been together for 3 weeks. The reality is they've only played 3 games together, really.
We just need to see that start settling, don't we, a bit now?
Yeah.
We've had 3 different centre combos. Back row's been floating about quite a bit. Some players have played in 2 different positions across the back row now. So I think Andy Farrell's just trying to find out, you know, in the centre case, is that person better inside, outside, back row, 8, 7, 6, you know, just experimenting. But now we should start seeing a bit more consistency and seeing the pattern of, right, who's playing on the weekends, who's playing midweek, who's likely to be starting. So hopefully now, you know, looking at Jack, we've just had a midweek game. Hopefully we don't see him selected on Saturday, and maybe that's an indication that he's going to be selected the weekend after that, and he's trying to get him back onto that weekend schedule. So there's loads of ways that these things can be interpreted. One interesting thing from today, or potentially interesting, because I was watching on my phone whilst doing other things, I didn't notice when Ryan Smith, obviously new Ospreys player for 25-26, didn't notice when he came on. I was looking for him around 17 minutes, 70 minutes,
70.
and I couldn't see him at that point. Did he come on? I thought he
He
was
did.
starting the game, I must
No.
admit.
No, I didn't start,
He was
no.
never starting, was he? Did he look good? Did you take notice?
Didn't really.
It's not a long time to assess,
No,
but
he wasn't on for long, but I've watched him throughout the season. And he has been really impressive throughout the season. I do think he's a really, really good signing. For them, that, as I say, their last game was the 6th of June. So for me, they've had like a month kind of training.
Yeah.
He knows he's going to be flying to the UK, like I think Tuesday. James Rees posted to say it was Tuesday that he's going to be flying to the UK. So I think it was a case of giving him the last hurrah, really, in a Reds jersey for those fans. And yeah, I think he's going to come. He's going to join pre-season. I think he's going to be impressive when he comes because he has put some big shifts in.
That's something to look forward to. Pre-season announcements as well. Pre-season fixture announcements to get those first look-ins. Let's chat for another time, but yeah. I must admit.
Sorry, Rod, go on.
I was just going to say,
you go.
I must admit that for the first 20 minutes of the game, there was another second row who had a bandana on, and on my little screen, I was watching it thinking he was Ryan Smith. And then I was like, wait, I swear Ryan Smith had longer hair than that and maybe a bit more of a mustache or something. And, you know, picked my phone up and had a closer look and realized it wasn't him. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, Mark. What were you going to say?
Yeah. Obviously, I've not been able to join the conversation on to today's game, and I haven't seen today's game at all. But I am a bit concerned that some of the concerns that people had before the tour started in terms of how competitive the warm-ups were going to be for the Lions might be coming to sort of fruition a little bit, and whether we're going to be a little bit undercooked or under-challenged possibly by the time the first test comes. We've played
Mm.
two Super 14 teams already, put 50 points on both of them. Neither of them have been at complete full strength because the Wallabies are resting their internationals in readiness for the test matches. We were Waratahs and Brumbies coming up, and then the invitational New Zealand Australia team, which is going to be a bit barbarian like by the sound of it and not massively competitive. And then we're into the first test, and it could turn out really by the time we get to that first test. And the Argentina game is by far going to be the hardest test that we've had in this
Oh
whole
yeah.
build-up. And that the Australian provincial teams, whatever you want to call them, aren't going to give us the challenge that we need. Okay, it gives us opportunity to test combinations and that kind of thing, which is great. But that physicality, that competitive element of a game of rugby
Uh,
is going to suddenly hit us on that first test day where they're going to be really up for it, full stadium, rested players, and are we going to be
I,
slightly undercooked
I
possibly?
guess. I guess the counter to that, Mark, is that a lot of these players have just come out of the end, the end rounds of high level tournaments in France, in the Prem, in the URC, in
Yeah,
previously competing in Europe. It's been a long season. They're all probably plenty fit enough. I guess the priority at this stage is just building that cohesion, isn't it? And building the confidence in those players, in those around them. So it is, yeah, it's finding that balance of um, giving them a decent test. Obviously, you don't want to rock their confidence by sending them in playing a warm-up round the world tour against South Africa and New Zealand and, rock
no,
them all. So you want to build their confidence. You want to create something that is good viewing. You don't want to overwork the players. Yeah, it's finding the right balance, isn't it? You don't want to be too far at the extreme end, but I think they're probably plenty fit enough. It's just getting the
yeah,
cohesion at
yeah,
this.
yeah.
It's like
But it does
sending.
potentially question. There's been lots of conversation about, is Australia actually aligned to a destination anymore?
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
the
this
worst
will
thing that
tell
could
us, won't it?
happen is if the Lions run through the sort of pre-test matches, win them all by 40, 50 points, and then win the series 3-0,
Yeah.
which could well happen because Australia are not in any great shape on an international front either. Then come the end of the tour, there's going to be big questions around 12 years' time already. And obviously we're only 3 games into the tour, 2 games in Australia, so massively preempting what's going to happen in the rest of the tour. But just looking at who we've got to play in the potential squads they're going to be putting out, we could well be in that position where we've actually steamrolled Australia for the entire tour potentially. But
Yeah. Well, hopefully not. But if that happens, yeah, that conversation needs to be had. Hopefully it doesn't.
yeah,
there's been
Mm.
lots of talk, isn't there? Because the contract clearly says that they've got to be full strength. Provincial teams that we're playing. I've been rewatching 2001 and 2013 behind the scenes, the documentaries, and they had the shit kicked out of them. The Lions did in both those years. And the whole point of playing the provisional sides at that point in time was they wanted to take a chunk out of the Lions and batter them ready for the first test.
yeah. Was it
They
Duncan
seem
McRae that
to have gone the opposite way this
was that
time.
pretty much, wasn't it? Was it Duncan? Yeah, Duncan McRae, wasn't it, who battered O'Gara, wasn't it, in
Yeah,
2001, wasn't it?
yeah.
Yeah,
Or his eye was just
yeah.
unreal.
And that was clearly
He,
targeting O'Gara to try and knock him out of the test series, wasn't it? So,
yeah, his
Mm.
eye literally had stitches underneath, and we're talking, you were a baby, Rod. You were a twinkle at that point in time. His eye swole within the space of 15 minutes, was shut, had stitches underneath. Um, the team doctor was doing his nut. Um, But they did exactly the same thing then to Martin Johnson. In all fairness to Martin Johnson, you see him actually getting it stitched up and going, right, let me back. Went straight back on, bit of Vaseline, away he goes. So I think they've kind of gone the opposite way this time, where they want to protect their Wallaby players, which I think is probably off the back of the run that they've had, because they don't want them to get injured before they can play for the Wallabies, because it's really important for them. This is like a big series for them. But likewise, I don't think they're doing themselves a service either by not fielding these players. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, lovely pictures of Jack and Ryan afterwards that Ospreys have posted, with him wearing a Lions shirt, Jack wearing his Lions training shirt or whatever. So nice for them to have met, get a bit of chat going. Off the back of Saturday's game, obviously a lot of chitter chatter about Pollock. I like Pollock. I just think he's got that effusive 20s excitement of things. And I
Cautious
don't
of
want to take that
overhyping
away
it.
from him. Yeah, but I don't want him to be overhyped either, and for him to be like, wow, you know, I
Just
do
for his own
think
sake, because when he makes a stupid mistake, which he's capable of
everyone
doing, if
piles
he does
on.
that in a test match, yeah, everyone's going to pile on him. So I think maybe behind closed doors, one of the older heads needs to maybe just yeah. Not tell him to change his personality or curb his enthusiasm, but just go
Taking a notch.
moments or yeah, whatever. But saying that, I loved it when he started that little sparky moment behind the posts after the try last
Yeah.
week. That was fun. I'm all for
My
that, you
mother
know.
rang me. My mother loves a fight. She rang me. She's like, "What was that about? Why'd they pick on him? He's only a baby." I was like, but didn't go in with punches though, did they?
Look at
But
the contrast though between the two sevens. If you look at Jack and then Pollock, there couldn't be a greater contrast in personality between two players in the same position.
Yeah. And that's the thing, isn't it? If you're sort of Jack and you're quiet and you're understated, when you perform, I feel like it's a different kind of glory to when Pollock performs. When Pollock pulls out something good, it's like, all right, yeah, there you go. Big cocky man with a big mouth doing
Yeah.
well, yeah. Fair play, blah, blah, blah. But when Jack does it, it's like, oh my God,
Oh
my heart, my soul, that man, I would follow him into battle. I don't have that like same, and even if Pollock was Welsh, I don't think I'd have that
no.
same respect that endear, I'm
This was
tripping over
World War
my
One. I'd
now.
go over the
That love.
I'd go over the top for Jack.
Hmm.
I'd follow that man onto that battlefield.
Yeah.
100%. Like,
Whereas if
um,
Paul like asks you, you say, "No, you go first. You show me how it's done."
you're a baby. Go ahead. Um, and it is that. So, but I think there are some big characters there. Um, Pierre Showman makes me laugh. I'm loving Bundy Aki. So nice that like his nephews were there after the game today. Finn Russell's daughter Minnie in her little lion shirt is so cute. She's obviously a lucky charm. She's out there.
Is that her name,
Um,
Minnie?
Minnie
Sounds
Minnie
like a
Russell.
dog breed, Minnie Russell.
Minnie Russell.
Maybe
It's like
Russell.
a micro Jack Russell.
Can you imagine her playing rugby for Scotland in 20 years' time?
If
Minnie
somebody
Russell,
took
Minnie Finn.
Minnie Russell, if somebody took working Jack Russell and bred it into a lapdog, that's what it would be called, a Mini Russell.
Yeah,
A Minnie
maybe
Russell.
Russell.
Um,
Sorry, sorry, Finn, for
Gutted for Thomas Williams, obviously, as well. He was, well, not even quietly, he was announcing himself on that stage, wasn't he, as being really putting his hand up for that first test place. He was outstanding while he
yeah,
was on the pitch on Saturday, and absolutely gets in for
yeah.
his total end like that.
heartbreaking. Oh, I bet he won't even be able to sit down and watch the rest of the games. I bet it'll be
No.
too sickening for him, which is a massive shame. Yeah. How old's he
And he's
now?
having to come home.
How old's he going to be on next tour? Is it his sort of last shot?
There's somebody 20, is he 28,
20, late
29?
20s, is he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So unless
Nine's
he's
a little bit of a worry now because Jamison Park. Did he play today?
Oh, he's
yes, he did. He
30.
started. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He had a good
So
game.
he's played today and he's coming off a knock, isn't he? And then Thomas has gone as well. So all of a
He looked
sudden,
great though. Gibson Park looked fit and firing today. His
Looked really
his,
good.
his passing was deadly accurate. He did
good.
look like he'd just come back from injury. So yeah, now with the inclusion of Ben White, probably not that concerned. I wouldn't even be. It's Jack Van Portley in camp.
No, he was brought in for the Argentina camp, wasn't he?
Yeah.
That was it.
And
It's
he
because
hasn't.
James Dunn
No,
had come back yet.
yeah, no, he hasn't travelled with the squad to Australia. No.
Not
Yeah.
heard
Well,
about Daly and his forearm yet.
Yeah, he
Um,
has.
he has, is he?
He's out. Yeah.
Because I said to John, the way he was cradling it, um, don't mean to keep mentioning my broken arm, but when I broke my arm, I did top and bottom, and the way he was cradling, I was like, "You've broken that, mate.
Yeah.
100%, you've broken that." Um, and
Which gets
that's
to show he's had a good game Saturday, and wasn't even supposed to be playing today, was he? He was only drafted in
no,
last minute to play because
because
he was supposed
thick
to be
cover.
resting today.
So
Yeah.
it brings to question, who do you call up? Because the reality with Daly is he can cover three positions in
they've
that
already
back
sort
row.
of got that with Marcus Smith. You know, we know he can do 10 and full back. At a push, he could do wing, although, really not ideal. But they've sort of got that in Marcus Smith already, and that's the only role Marcus Smith is ever destined to play on this tour, isn't it? I can't see him
No,
starting. I can see him being on the bench and providing that cover.
It opens
Obviously,
up 15
hasn't
bits,
seen him
doesn't it?
on yet.
Yeah, because Keenan was supposed to start today, wasn't he, and didn't start. Kinghorn's only just arriving from France, so he hasn't played yet either. So he's like 3 weeks behind the rest of the squad in terms of prep. And then Marcus Smith's been there the whole way through. So you do wonder, is he gonna, sneak in potentially from third choice to first choice maybe? But I suppose it depends how King, like you said earlier on, Rod, he's going to come in fit and firing from winning the top 14.
who knows?
Um, so he would think he's still favourite to start.
You
Yeah.
see him in his budgie smugglers dancing at the end of that
Yes.
game and
Did you see
snogging
the
Moss's
kiss?
face off.
Yeah. With Jack
Bit of
Willis.
homoerotic over there. I'm there for it. I'm there for
Yeah.
it. Go on,
Yeah.
you and Jack.
I bet they woke up in the morning and
Thinking
flicked on their phone, saw that in the tabloids and thought,
like,
Jesus.
oh God. While we're talking about Marcus Smith, can I just say something about how my mother's brain works? Now, I've told you before, my mum despises Marcus
Oh,
Smith
I
with a
thought she loved him.
passion. Exactly.
She heard me saying
With a
that.
passion that she'd bat you if she heard you say that. She'd like proper clip you across the head. It's kind of him and Gary Barlow. Both of those really wind her up. My mum loves tennis, so my mother's a proper sports head. Tennis, dart, snooker, cricket, rugby league, football. Like, she's a proper sports head. 76-year-old sports hooligan, right? Amazing. Rang her yesterday. You watching the tennis, ma'am? No. Why? That bird is on there. What bird, ma'am? Emma Raducanu. Can't be watching her. I was like, why?
What's she got wrong?
Lo-
What problem she got with Emma Raducanu?
She looks like Marcus Smith. This is my mother. She looks like Marcus
Okay.
Smith.
They could be
Look at
siblings.
her. Look at her. She looks like Marcus Smith. Now, my mother has made the statement, can't be watching him if I don't like him.
Well,
Okay.
you can watch them if you don't like them, if they're facing a Swansea tennis player who you're rooting for to beat them.
Honestly, she's bonkers, right? And I'm like, right, okay. And then someone else is it Alcaraz?
Yeah.
Oh, no. According to my mother, he's called Alcatraz. I'm like, ma'am, that's the prison. She's like, yeah, no, Alcatraz. And also, if you're going for a KFC, you're going for a JFK with my mother. And if you're having a J2O, you're having a J-Lo. So this is my mother.
He doesn't do
folks.
He's
Cockney
gonna have to come
rhyming
on,
slang.
Sam.
He does Welsh Valley slang, Swansea Valley
Honest to
slang.
God. Like, and it's not a funeral, it's a funeral. You haven't got digital telly, you've got digital telly, and it's an ambulance. Because she just can't get her head around it. Absolutely can't get her head around it. She is bonkers mental.
Well,
But
I think it's the thing of having somebody in every team or every sport that you just don't like. I sort of get that side of it. I think I'm a bit like that with certain sports where it's like in NFL, I hate Tom Brady. Um,
yeah,
no reason to hate Tom Brady apart from the fact that he was mega, successful. In tennis, I always hated Federer. Similar kind of thing, I suppose. It's because he's successful and good looking and whatever, and he comes on screen and you just think, oh, bugger off.
just some
Right.
people
And
you
I've got
can't buy.
no rhyme or reason. Maybe I'm just turning into your mum as I'm getting older, so maybe that's what it is. But
Jack, don't do too well. You'll get the wrath of Mark.
I know. Don't do it, Jack.
Mark
Um,
doesn't like success.
but like totally like it's totally irrational, like totally irrational with her. But she can talk for 20 minutes about how much she hates his hair. He's doing that again. He's doing that again. She goes off on one, and I'm like, you need to calm down now. You seriously need to be chilling. But as the Marcus Smith aside, so we got Waratahs on Saturday, so quite a quick turnaround again. Quite looking forward to see the team that he chooses for that, because I think going into that, then we're gonna start seeing repeat performances. Like Jack was on the field for the full 80 minutes today, and I think he was just having such a stormer of a game. You're not gonna take him up. You're not going to take him off. His performance between that and Argentina were kind of night and day, really. Some fantastic tweets. I think the guy who said Richie McCaw wears Jac Morgan pajamas, that tickled me. Absolutely tickled me. And I just think there's some someone that posted now, amazes me that it's taken until today for some people to realise how good Jac Morgan is. Preach. We're at that church.
Yeah. I
just
want him
based
at
on
one
matches so
point.
far. Sorry,
I was just
Rod, go on.
just want him at one point to mention Ospreys in an interview. Just, for anybody plotting our demise. Carry on,
Yeah.
Mark.
Talk about
I'm gonna say I
starting
haven't
him.
seen all the games. Obviously, I missed today's game, but when you guys have seen today as well. I mean, what positions are you'd think the Finn Russell is a shoe in at 10. You would hope the Jack is a shoe in for one of those back row positions. Gibson Park at 9. Low maybe on one of the wings is a probable shoe in as well. But who else is an absolute shoe in that's 100% going to
Wing's
start?
really tough. I don't think there's any shoe-ins at wing now, especially after today's game. Tommy Freeman at the
Freeman had a
Stormer.
great game.
2 tries, looked really aerially dominant. Doohan had a much better performance than his last one. He was pretty absent in the last one and a few fumbles of the ball
today as well.
He was like a gazelle, wasn't he? Just long legs running into traffic, tucking the shoulder. He was loving it. So loads of big arcs cutting around the back line and then just straightening up and bashing through. Every game we see my selections on the wing changes.
Yeah, Sheehan, Porter, both shoe-ins. You would think.
Ian, I think the more Kelleher plays, the more we know Sheehan's starting. Because
And
he's all right.
So,
Porgy is
yeah.
It'll be interesting to see the next two.
Well, in the first test, because I love him. I think Chesham is a tidy player. Really, really.
He was good today.
He just does the basics really well, doesn't he?
Business on the 10 in a.
Yeah. No frills.
Looking forward to Saturday. I'm going out to watch it. Sandrabbit in Aberavon, Hibbard's place, is doing opening for 10 and is doing brunch. Food there is amazing. Every time I've eaten at any of his places, it's always really, really good. So I'm going to go and have a nice coffee and a bacon sandwich because that is my favourite. Rod, I've said you're more than welcome to come and join us, lad. Mark, it's a bit too far for you.
Amy's back from holiday late Friday evening, so it depends whether she desperately needs and wants my attention on the Saturday. But I've told her that I'm going.
I'm not being funny, mate. You've been on holiday. You've got no chance. To be honest, I'm in trouble this week as well because we've talked about going to the Lions in 2029, and told Johnny's staying home to look after the dog and my mother. My brother's trying to persuade my mother to die in 2027 so we can sell the house to have money to go on a top-notch tour. I'm like, you can't fucking tell her she's dying. He's like, I can. And he's like, no, literally, she's like 77. You cannot tell her she's dying. And she just laughs. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely hilarious. But so I'm looking forward to that. Rod, just make her come with you, mate. Offer her coffee and breakfast. Like, you're a strong, independent woman, Rod. You don't need no man telling you what to do.
Well, no, I'll come on my own. It's whether she wants to come with me or not. That's the crux of what I'm saying. I think she's getting back super duper early, so whether I can wake her up or not is
Yeah,
depends on when she comes. Yeah.
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 She looks like she's having a lovely time anyway. I'm slightly jealous of what she was eating today. Looked really nice.
Yeah, back home in Cyprus, lots of meat.
Lovely.
Not good for the stomach.
To be honest,
Anyway, I'll have to deal with the brunt of it when she comes back. Sorry, that's too much information.
TMI. But
Oversharing now. Come on.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't listen to this one.
honest to God, dieting has proper changed my stomach size. When it's too warm, I don't get hungry. So I snacked on grapes and stuff today. I did have a biscuit with my coffee this morning because I felt the need, but I had like 3 biscuits, like the little small round Biscoffy ones.
Mm.
3 of those, and I was absolutely like, I was pushing it, eating the third. Like, had tea then, and I was like, ate about 3/4 of it, and I was like, no. But I've noticed my stomach issues have got better as well because since I've had my gallbladder out, then heartburn and God knows what else just drives me mad.
That in combo with 35 degrees or whatever they're doing over in Japan and sweating out 2 kilos a day. Yeah.
Can you imagine? I'd be like that.
Saying about food
Actually,
though.
I humble brag. In the last like 4 months, I've lost 15.5 kilos, which is
Wow.
approximately £35. So I'm really proud of myself.
Mega impressive.
So,
Well done, Sam.
humble brag, humble brag.
I was just going to say, some part of my new job's mantra is that I want to hydrate more. So I've got
Yeah,
myself a new water for work,
yeah,
and I'm two bottles of water a day. The problem
amazing.
is my colleague in the office now thinks that I'm incontinent because I have to go to the toilet about 10
Pee all the time.
times a
Yeah, I'm trying, like, this is just shy of a litre. So I try and drink 3 of those during the office day. But the problem is I'm constantly peeing. And as people remind me, I'm of that age now where my bladder's not what it was. So I'm constantly peeing. But that's kind of it for the rugby chat today. So I guess we should have a rando because it's traditional now, isn't it? So I was watching Glastonbury over the weekend. Now, I've been to Glastonbury, and first things first, I couldn't do it again. Could not do it again. Too many people, too much going on, too busy, too crowded. Can't deal with that. Would you be able to go to Glasgow?
Oh, 100%. I'm doing 2 festivals this summer. So yeah, love a
Okay,
festival.
where are you
I
going?
do favor the small to medium size festival
Yeah,
rather than the super duper
I could do small.
100,000 people a day festivals. So I'm going to one next weekend called Tonai, which is the Welsh for waves up on Anglesey in North Wales.
Okay,
That's a nice little family-ish one that gets a little bit less family orientated at night. Um,
who's there?
so
Who's playing?
Oh, it's obscure little artists. It advertises itself as sort of world music. So, you go in one
Okay,
tent and it'll be some band from Africa or something playing lots of drums, and then
I
another
don't
one will
mind shit
be
like that.
yeah, yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And then the other one I'm going to is Into the Wild Festival, in the end of August for my birthday. And that again, I mean, this shows you that I'm aging a bit now, but again, it's more of a peaceful, uh, crafty type festival, like
Love
natural
that.
crafts. So you can go along and you do workshops in, um, I don't know, spoon whittling, and there's going to be people demonstrating how to make horn blowers, that
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Australian carved piece of wood that the Aboriginals would swing around on a piece of rope above their head, and it would
Sounds
make
up
like a
your alley.
roaring, scary noise that would, terrify people in battle. So yeah, lots of cool natural stuff like that. Yeah.
Amazing. Mark, could you festival it now?
I would love to do it. I was going to go to Glastonbury when I was in college, and then they decided to do a fallow year,
Yeah,
and I missed out. And then since then, I've been stuck to the school calendar. So
yeah.
it's pointless going to Glastonbury unless you're going to do Thursday to Monday, really. And I've never really had the time off to do it. So I would absolutely love to do it, but I think now I'd probably have to go the slightly posher route and do the glamping and
Glam.
be a little bit more comfy than just sleeping in a two-man tent, covered in piss and whatever else, and everybody shouting in the tents next door, whatever. I'd have to do it a bit posher now. But I absolutely loved the coverage on the weekend. I mean, you just pick up so many new bands and stuff, and
Yeah,
I still love new music and stuff, and yeah, I would love to go. And it's probably the first opportunity now that I'm not in education that I've ever had to go. So you never know. Next couple of years,
give it a
maybe
whirl.
my time to do it.
Massive
Love you,
Bob
pal.
Dylan fan now, aren't you, Mark? Oh, let's not go there. Too
Sorry, Rob.
political.
Massive
I said
Bob,
I didn't hear what you
Bob
said. So,
Dylan fan. That
Bob
artist
Dylan.
who's got
oh,
Oh,
God,
in trouble for, yeah, let's not get into it.
yeah,
yeah,
no,
let's not
I
no.
go
regret
there.
bringing it up.
We'll get
Move on.
banned. Get
Yeah.
shadow banned. Really
Yeah,
enjoyed Pulp. Totally took me back to like my student
yeah.
days. Loved Rod Stewart. I've seen him quite a number of times anyway. Thought Ray was fantastic. Really loved her. C-Mac was amazing. Nile Rodgers. I did watch the Neil Young set. I quite enjoyed Neil Young.
I need to go back and
Um,
watch Neil Young because I wanted to watch it. I missed it. I didn't have the
it
time.
was it was good, and the fact that he agreed for the BBC to film him was amazing. Um, I'm with you, Mark. If I'm gonna go, I'm gonna glamp. The last couple of festivals I've gone to, which are probably festivals that you like, Rod, is a festival called Bella Drum, just outside Inverness. Usually done around the beginning of August bank holiday in Scotland, because they have slightly different bank holidays to us. They usually have some pretty good headliners, but they've got different things that you can try. So they've got a spoken word tent, a comedy tent. Last time we did whiskey tasting with Tomatin. They've got like a ruin there that they call Mother's Ruins. They always do dance stuff in there. Then they've got another tent further down the field. So it's big, but it's not, it's very much a family festival. I saw some really random people there. I saw Barbara Dickinson. I saw Grandmaster Flash one year, Tom Jones, Madness. Like they do get like bigger things, but they've also got like the world music. They usually have a Scottish band called Colonel Mustard who are banging. They're bonkers. They're from Glasgow, and they've got a song called Cross the Road. And they get everybody to go to one side of the tent and then cross the road and go over. One of their singers wears like a disco ball helmet and
Mhm.
crowd surfed in a unicorn dinghy. They were bonkers. Then they got the Red Hot Chili Pipers and all that kind of thing. So
Pipers.
pipers,
That sounds
pipers.
like a
I had
good
a piper at
tribute
my
band.
wedding. I did
Red
have a piper at
Red
my
Hot Chili
wedding.
Pipers. Did you?
Yeah, and they do
So
all like rock stuff.
new segment, Rod's follow-up rando question.
Okay,
What were both of your first ever live band artists that you saw when, back in the day?
Kylie and Jason, Stock Aitken and Waterman, 1987, Ritzies.
That sounds like a familiar answer. Have we had this conversation before?
We've spoken about
Mark,
my love for
Mark, tell me
Kylie.
yours. Maybe that'll.
Mine was Prince in Wembley Arena.
Does that sound familiar?
No.
That's a
I think we
very
might
good
have talked
first
about it
one.
before, possibly. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
possibly. Long, long
Mine
time ago,
was
but he was absolutely immense.
I bet he was. That's one of you know, if you can have a what's it called, a dinner party, who you invite in type answers, isn't it,
Yeah.
Prince? Mine was a band you've probably not heard of, All Time Low, pop
Yeah,
rock
Yeah.
band.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, All Time Low. Yeah, yeah.
We
yeah.
may be old, Rod, but we do listen to music.
Not dead.
Well, I
Um,
don't know. This was when I was like 14, 15. I don't know whether they were in the sphere, in the popular sphere, or just in my sphere, you know?
you're my niece and my nephew's age, so I remember stuff from them. But what's blowing
Oh,
my mind at the minute is someone has remixed Share Believe, and all the youngsters are like going mental, going, "Oh my God, this is amazing." And I was like,
yeah.
it's at least
Talking
25 years
about
old.
Cher as if she's some like obscure artist that they've discovered.
I go through musical phases. And trait of my ADHD is I listen to stuff over and over. So at least once a year I go through a Cher phase and like constantly banging out Cher. Gypsies, Tramps and Thieves is like right up there. At least twice a year I go through a Dolly phase of Dolly Parton. Then I'll go through like a phase of like musicals and stuff. Then I'll go through like a Roxy music phase. Then I'll go through a Fleetwood Mac phase, and that's all year, just
Right.
constant. I do John's Head in, but um, I really regret not seeing Fleetwood Mac live.
Mm.
Absolutely 100%. I've decided that I was always having a 50th birthday party anyway. Definitely having a 50th birthday party in 2 years' time. And because I was born in the 70s, it's going to be fancy dress and it's going to become as a 70s legend. And I'm going as Stevie Nicks.
Nice, nice. Okay,
I'm
I'll
going as
start
Stevie
planning
Nicks.
my outfit. I've got
Stop
a few in the
planning.
back that fit
Stop
that
planning.
category.
Mark,
Hmm.
who you coming as, mate?
70s legend. Good God.
Doesn't have to be music, it can just be a
I have to have a
70s
think about that one. I
legend.
didn't. I have to have a good think about that one. Oh God, I don't know.
You're going to have to be Elton John.
Can you do
Bring the
70s
wife
and
as Kiki D. What?
can you do 70s and 80s?
No, I did
Or just
80s for my
70s?
40th.
Oh, did you? Okay. If it was 80s, I'd come as Kurt Cobain because I've done him before and I've got a good outfit.
That's fine, but no, not for my 70s party. Um, I was a very chunky, like a Virgin Madonna for my 40th. Um, talking of that, what do you know what amused me today? I had a pop up on my phone with Amazon recommends for you. Um, Amazon recommended track and field equipment. I was like, I'm fucking 48 and I'm chubby. I do not need track and field equipment. I'm like a raccoon. I'd fight you for food. So that's amused me today as well. I'm like,
I mean, it depends what discipline, doesn't it?
well, I don't frigging know. It just said track and field.
I mean, you do CrossFit. I presume you're quite strong. Have you got
Get
a
in
good
there.
shot put in arm? Was it recommending you a shot put?
I got
You
pins
got
and shit in
dislocated
that, haven't
shoulder, haven't
I?
you? Broken shoulder.
Yeah, like I'm like I can feel my plate and my pins actually when it's really warm it vibrates, and trying to explain a vibrating titanium plate to someone who does not have one and hasn't experienced that in their body, or feeling the titanium expanding and contracting when it's warm and cold.
So I just don't
Imagine how
think you went
Wolverine
any further
feels.
down that whole shot put route there, Rod, because all I can think of in shot put is like the 80s women's shot putters, Russian especially, who all had beards because of the amount of steroids they were taking. And they were all like brick shit houses. I was thinking, God, don't go there, please, Rod, don't go there.
Anybody seen like um Paul Williams posted it on Twitter about Razzie Erasmus's farm in South Africa where they're all going, coming back like 15 kilos lighter, but can lift like God knows what. I was like, send me to fucking South Africa, guys. I'd be like, what a health kick farm. Me and Paul Williams were like, should we book flights together, mate? Should we just go? Um, but I'm not saying there's anything shady. Allegedly, that's what they're doing. you know,
Mm.
who am I to comment? But yeah, that's been this week. So obviously we've got Lions on Saturday, got another Lions game next week. So I
Thick and
suppose we
fast now.
could, yeah, suppose we could reconvene next week after the game midweek, which I think is on a Tuesday.
Hmm.
Oh no,
We've got
actually,
5 games left now, haven't we? 5 games in 2 weeks, essentially, which is
yeah,
pretty intense. But yeah, looking forward to it. It starts now. Feels like it's really getting going, doesn't it?
yeah, I love it. Absolutely love it. So, um, this is us. Rod will put all our socials up. We'll do another episode again next week. Lovely to see the pictures of the lads in training as well with the Ospreys. Looks like they've got a really nice new kit coming with that flash of like Tiffany blue, greeny kind of colour. So we'll look forward to seeing that as well. But that is us for this week. So, what do they say in Australia? Toodles.